Hey, if you're interested in learning how you can manage the numbers for your rental business portfolio so you can keep track of all the money, you found the right place. Hey, Daniel, cue in the intro, please. Hey, welcome, guys. I'm Juan Pablo here. Now, if you're new to the channel, we like to discuss the three things that lead to financial freedom. It's the three pillars to financial freedom, which are personal finance, relates to credit, budgeting, and so forth. Getting your paper right, looking good on paper for the mortgage lenders. We also like to discuss funding, having a repeatable source of investment capital. And last and certainly not least, real estate investing with a focus on multi-units and multi-family properties. And again, if you're new, I just want to make sure that you like the video. If it was valuable to you, you subscribe and watch to the end. So that way YouTube, the algorithm, can do its thing and provide you with additional videos to help you along your journey towards financial freedom. So without further ado, let's dive into the topic. So today, as you can see, I'm sitting down. So I'm doing a screen share. I'm on my desktop right now. And I've been receiving comments, so make sure you comment below if you have questions about certain things you're going through as a real estate investor, or if you have content requests. We'd love to create videos based upon your requests. So share with us what you need to know. So I'm receiving comments about how to manage their numbers, right? Numbers in regard to rents that you receive and expenses. Because I get it, you might be a real estate investor currently, you might have a small portfolio, and you might not have had any training or anyone to hold your hand in regard to how to manage your own numbers, because it's so important. There's an old saying that goes, know thy numbers, right? You have to, because oftentimes we know the numbers in the acquisition phase. Just to show you an example, we might know these numbers, like, oh yeah, this property is producing $1,000 a month in cash flow, or 18% return. My cash flow per door is $200. My built-in equity is that. All that stuff is good. But what you also got to focus on too is post-acquisition management. Now, you might be managing your own portfolio, or you might outsource property management to someone else. Either way, you got to make sure your numbers are managed effectively. And you might even outsource bookkeeping. You might hire a bookkeeper, which is great. But you still got to be a C-level student. Now, I'm a fan of delegation myself. I'm a fan of outsourcing too, to reputable people and reputable companies, respectively. However, I got to make sure that I have a base knowledge, so that way, if they ever try to, not to say they try to rip me off, but if they ever say anything that goes over my head, I don't want to be in that position. I want to make sure I can at least speak the language, not be at the advanced level expert status as they are, but at least know how to go in the books myself and take a look at it just to make sure that it's up to par. Okay, so I'm going to share with you and review how to manage your numbers. So this is a resource right here. It's called the Schedule E. So it's used for tax purposes, actually. So we actually use this for our properties, and this is a blank one. So it's a template, but we actually have one of these that we use for our properties to make sure we track the numbers. And once the year is up, we just forward this spreadsheet over to our tax professional, so he or she can take a look at the numbers and do their magic, just make sure that they put the numbers in when we file taxes. So we want to make sure the numbers are accurate. Okay, so that's what we do. So let's jump into it. So as you can see, you can have this for multiple properties. So that's why I put here property 1, property 2, because if you have a portfolio, you want to have a separate tab for each property. Okay, now the top line, which is the most important line, that is the rents received. So whatever month you're in, you just key in certain information. If you're in the month of January, you might type in, let's say you have just to make it easy for myself as well, let's say you had a 4-unit, okay? Of course, you can have a 100-unit, but I'm just sharing with you on a minor scale if you're just getting started with real estate investing, you're managing your numbers. Because oftentimes, you might not be able to afford a property management company if you started off, maybe because you didn't factor that into your deal analysis, right? Or maybe you can't afford a bookkeeper. You didn't factor that into your deal analysis. So you got to do those tasks yourself until you grow your portfolio. You can outsource those things to other people. But so let's say you start off with a 4-unit. So you press the equal sign and you can just type in the rents. Let's say the rent is for unit 1 is 500. Unit 2 is 525. Unit 3 is 535, and unit 4 is 560. Okay, so you just type that in, and voila, you see the rents for the month. It's right here, calculated for you. So of course, you'll do that every single month you receive rents. Now, what I typically do is if a tenant's paying late, or I might have to start the eviction proceedings, or the person paid half now, half later, whatever the case may be, special case, I just highlight the cell. Let's say it's January. I'll click the plus sign, see here, and I just leave a comment. And I might tag myself, but I might say tenant in unit 1 will receive a rent increase effective January 1 or February 1, whatever you want. So you can just put a special note there and save it if it means something, right? So that's what I typically do, just leave a comment. Okay, so that's the income, top line. So you see here, year to date, we're already at revenue. So of course, every time you enter in money in here, let's say a tenant was late in providing you with rent, you only receive $2,000 that month. Okay, let's say a tenant still owes you $120. So you can place a note, tenant in unit 4 owes $120 and will pay, let's say, $50 late fee starting February 1, whatever the rent is. You can just save it just like that. Okay, so you hover over it, you see the comment there. So that's why you can see why it's short, just in case you're ever curious. But you see the grand total here being added up right over here. Okay, and I put a special note here, don't include any W-2 salary or any other business income. This is specifically for your rental portfolio. Okay, so once you're done with the rents, of course, for each month, you also want to itemize all the expenses. So this is important. And what I typically do is when I have an expense, I want to make sure I maintain that receipt. And I'm not talking about a shoebox full of receipts. What I like to do instead is I like to have it stored online through the cloud. So the way I go about doing that is I'll sign into my Google Drive. So it's important. And you want to have a folder called receipts. You see here. So you see I have different types of folders: receipts, invoices and receipts, material receipts, contracts and invoices, receipts. So you want to make sure you have a folder there. And what you want to do next is you want to be able to scan the receipt. You can use your smartphone, just take a picture, right? You can just take a picture of the receipt. You upload it. So the way you upload it, so let's say you're in this folder here. Okay, and you have a faucet receipt right here. So what you do, and you see it's under my property management folder. So you want to keep everything organized. Have a property management folder, have a folder called receipts. You want to click new, file upload, and you want to locate the receipt. Let's say this is the receipt, or you know, the snapshot, the screenshot. Let's say that's the receipt. And then you upload it. And then when you upload it, this is Google Drive. So you click this link icon, copy link. Then you go back to the Schedule E. And let's say you had a receipt for, let's say you had to pay for parking. You know, let's say you had a condo, it was a rental unit, and you had to pay for parking because you were doing turnover activities. And let's say it was $15. You type $15, add the comment. Receipt for parking at 123 Condo Lane. So that's the address. To do turnover activities. And just paste the link, just like that. You can comment. So if you ever want to see it, voila, it's right there. See the receipts right here. So of course it says faucet. It's because I'll use an example, but you catch my drift. Okay, so you see that. And then you can just list all the other expenses here. Property management fees and so forth. This is what you want to do. Okay, so this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see real estate investors do. They don't document and itemize every single dollar they receive and every single expense they receive. Now, I actually have a video recommendation for you. It's a top 5 mistakes that I see real estate investors make, top 5. So what I want you to do is check the link below in the description so that we can get access to that training so you can learn more about the mistakes people make. But this is a key mistake that I see people making here. It's just not documented. And I get it. Some people just decide not to document it. Why? Because they want to avoid paying taxes to Uncle Sam. But you don't want to do that. You want to be able to report your income. And if you want to reduce your tax liability, just seek a professional, a tax professional, and see how you can strategize. Maybe you can reduce or accelerate your depreciation expense. Maybe you can use your home, like I'm using here, as my office. So of course, a portion of my home gets deducted as well. So you can game plan or strategize with your tax professional to reduce your tax liability. But you just want to make sure you apply the honor code and just key in your income and your expenses. So this is just for short instructional purposes, but you catch my drift. You just continue to go on line by line every single month to add expenses. So some expenses you might have multiple, but just like the income, you might have multiple income. So you might say, oh, I have multiple expenses that comes for repairs. That's a common expense. So you might say, okay, well, I spent $100 for the faucet. I spent $50 for the labor, for the plumber to fix the faucet, and I spent $300 on the AC unit. Total expense for the month, $450. Then, as always, you want to put a note or a comment, and you just itemize it out. $100 for faucet, that's materials. You say $50 for faucet installation. And let's say that's labor. Then you might want to say, I forgot the other one, $300 for AC repair. You might say labor and materials. Let's say the AC guy, the HVAC guy, he bundled it for you. And you can put the date, whatever the difference, you're going to make up a date, January 18th, 20, whatever the year is, just to make up a date. So that way, and then you want to have the receipt, as I share with you. So that way, if you have multiple different transactions within the month under one category, in this case, repairs, just in case you have questions later, or your tax professional has questions later, or just in case you get audited later, great resource. Okay, so it starts from the jump, being organized and carefully documenting things, and then you just add the comment. So I'm not going to save that, but that's how you would do it. So you do that all for the expenses. And then you see here, there's formulas. So a lot of stuff gets auto-calculated. All right, so you'll see that. And then you want to track mileage, because most investors didn't realize that you can deduct mileage as well. So if you have an office, let's say you're going from your office to your rental property, you can deduct a part of that towards your mileage. You get a certain percentage. I think it's maybe 50 something cents per mile. Just see your tax professional. I don't quite remember what it is, but you can deduct that. Okay, so you want to make sure you keep a log as well of your miles. Then you have capital expenditures. These are things like appliances, furniture, carpets that you could depreciate over 5 years. So it has it here. And if you need clarity about what you can or cannot deduct, so they're different from repairs because it's a bigger ticket item. So you could depreciate that item in 5 years. Okay, 15 years, however, it could be fences, shrubbery, roads, around your property. And 27.5 years, new roof, water pipes, furnaces. Okay, so if you're ever wondering, well, what about my furnace? Here it goes right here. Okay, well, what about my water heater? Okay, well, will that go under appliances? Will I go over here? When in doubt, just reach out to your tax professional. So again, you want to have a tab per property. Now, if you don't have multiple properties, let's say you do have a property or two, and you want to increase that. Well, I actually got a video recommendation for you. It's about submitting more offers, because the only way you can get more deals is if you only submit more offers. It makes sense, right? So just definitely check the link below in the description to learn more. And if you're ever curious about how to get access to this template right here, we typically reserve this for students, okay? But if you are interested in training, additional training in depth, you can see we like to handhold people. We like to go really in depth into the numbers. Then what I want you to do is just check the link below. we have a free training for you. So that way you can get started towards building your multi-unit, your multi-family portfolio as well. So as always, guys, this is to your success. Continue to earn passively and live passionately. Peace.